This is Sean Hall of UCSF IT Service Management Office, and today I'm showing you the new user interface for ServiceNow. The system operating system is Fuji, also known as User Interface 15. Fuji is the name of the latest version of ServiceNow, and we're upgrading from Calgary to Fuji because the vendor needs us to do this to remain up to date in order to receive support from them if we should need it. Also, Fuji uses the new User Interface 15, which has a new updated look and some new features. And this upgrade is going live the evening of Friday, May 29th. The new user interface is something that this entire training will tell you about. When you first log in, you will be presented with a pop-up notice explaining a few of the new features, and you only see this notice once, but then if you want to see it again, you may open the home menu and click What's New button. I'll talk more about the home menu a little bit later. UI15 is incompatible with older browser versions, so if you have to use Safari version 5, Internet Explorer 7, or Internet Explorer 8, you will not see any of the new features with Fuji. So this presentation would only be for informational purposes if you have to use these older browser versions. You always have the option of using another updated browser to take advantage of the new features in Fuji. Browser support for User Interface 15 would be Firefox version 26 and up, Chrome version 39 and up, Safari version 6.1 and up, and Internet Explorer version 9 and up. In addition to the restrictions of the older browser, compatibility mode is no longer supported. So when you're using Fuji, the first thing you'll notice is that the form and fields adapt to accommodate browser window width resizing. So I'm going to be showing you some live examples of what this looks like as we go through the recording. When you're looking at a ticket, for instance, an incident ticket, and you are viewing the ticket, it depends on the width of your browser as to how the fields will be displayed, the fields and the fields label. As you notice, this appears to be fairly similar to what we have today in Calgary, but if I decide to shorten my browser window, you would notice that a few things happen. For instance, in this case, the field names go to the top of the field, and if I were to shorten my browser even further, the fields would actually shrink to a single column all the way straight down. So it takes advantage of smaller window browser size. It automatically adjusts for you. Multiple tabs in split view. If you've used the optional User Interface 11 before, you may have known that the split view was an option. This becomes as an option for everyone with User Interface 15. So you can basically view a ticket in a list view, and then within the same window look at your tickets in split view. And a new feature is called multiple tabs. So let me show you what that looks like. So in this case, if I come back to all of my incidents and I click on List and Form View in the left side navigation, and notice I have this new section on the right hand side that says New Tab. If I click the first ticket in the list, that ticket is displayed in that new tab and turns into the ticket number at the top. If I then click on the plus icon in the secondary tab, then I click on the second ticket in the list view, I can display the second ticket in my list on the right hand side as well. This allows me to work on multiple tickets at once, and as you can see, as I flip back and forth between the ticket is highlighted in the list view. You can continue to click plus and open these and view more than two, as many as you'd like, depending on the width of your window. You may be able to see more or less. You can also resize these windows by dragging. Grab the little bar here, drag, and be able to see more of the ticket. Then if you want to close some of these, there's a little X. You can close these individual tickets. And if you no longer want to see the split view, you just click this button again, and you're back to the single view. List view column searching. So when you're in list view, you can enable column searching, which is just a newer way of being able to search for data. And you can type one or more values in the fields and hit enter on your keyboard. Now, I'm looking at list view here. This can be turned on and off by clicking the magnifying glass that's at the top of the list view. So if I click this search button, I can see that I am able to find the search bar underneath every column name. So if I start with all tickets, for instance, or all incidents, and I'm looking for specific tickets where of a specific customer name, you could always still go to the go-to drop-down and switch this to customer, but notice you can also simply do it this way. So if I type Sean Hall and say for a specific app business service, ServiceNow, and if I hit search now, if I hit enter on my keyboard after entering my secondary term, notice that it added to my query. Customer name starts with Sean Hall, app business service name starts with ServiceNow. So it found 82 tickets where that were the case. It is just an alternate way of searching. You still have your go-to searching available at the top. The next item is list view menu options. This allows you to see what some of the options are that are with every column name. There used to be a way that people would sort of have to right-click, and it was a mystery as to how to get some of that information. So right now, if you wanted to, for instance, next to every column name there is a drop-down, and if you click that, you can sort by that, you can group by that value. So if I wanted to group these 82 tickets by priority, I would choose that option and I would see all the high tickets, the medium tickets, the low tickets. You could also click this value again and ungroup it. You would also, is another way to do a quick bar chart or pie chart, or export this data in this list view to an Excel, for instance. The next item is personalized list view options. And these are just some new ways that you can personalize what you see in the list view regarding active row highlighting. And the next item would be modern cell coloring. And I will show you what that looks like. So while I'm looking at my list view here, if you click on this personalized list, which is the little gear here, you will see these options. You have modern cell coloring, you have active row highlighting. They may or may not be on for you. This is what it looks like without those settings. So as you notice, like the old system, the high priorities take up the entire field and it's orange. And as you run your cursor over each column, you'll notice there's a vague change of color. But if you both change your active row highlighting and modern cell coloring options and select those, notice now that the high priority has now an orange dot instead of the entire field being orange. It is less takes up a little bit less on the screen. It's less color to disrupt your viewing pattern. And notice that when you run your cursor over each column, there is a highlighting effect that happens, I'm sorry, each row. The next feature that may be very useful for you is favoriting your items. You may have noticed already that there's a bunch of stars next to every form that you see. This allows you to favorite the things that you use quite often. So when looking at the navigation pane, if you constantly are clicking on various aspects of the system, you can click the little star next to this item and it will become dark blue, and this will become one of your favorites. Now what you can do is adjust your navigation to only show favorites by clicking the little blue star to toggle and view the favorites. So I'm going to do that now, and you will see that there are only 4 items that are seen now because I have toggled on my favorites. So my incidents, my problems, changes, and reports. Again, you can check and uncheck things at will, but this, if you're instead of scrolling to find items in your list view, or instead of typing in the filter to constantly find items, just star them and then toggle and only see your favorites to quickly get to things you use frequently. The Edge bookmark bar I've already briefly mentioned, but on the left side is called the Edge, or the bookmark bar, and you can toggle your navigator to just completely not see the navigator to give you some more real estate. This is also how you turn on and off your split pane, which we already briefly mentioned. Tag documents, which I will explain in a moment, and bookmarks, which I'll also explain in a moment. So bookmarks. You can add a bookmark to a specific ticket or a favorite search query, so you can quickly recall it. You can drag a ticket number to the edge, turn it into a bookmark. Say it's something that you want to follow up on tomorrow. You just drag that ticket to the edge, to the bookmark, and you can view it later. You can also drag the very last word of a filter query and turn that entire query into a bookmark. And then you can also edit these bookmarks so that you can change the name of them, etc. Let me show you what this looks like. So again, if this were a ticket that I wanted to follow up on tomorrow, or I just need to see it again in the future and not have to go searching for it, I can left click on this ticket number and drag it all the way to the bookmark, and then you see it turns into a ticket. It turns into a bookmark, and if I click on this, it takes me directly to this ticket. It will always stay in the bookmark bar until I delete it. The other thing you can do is, for instance, if you have a particular query, you only want to see items that are, for instance, marked as acknowledged, you can add that to your query and then drag. Notice that your query starts here, it wraps around the very last part of your query. If you left click on that, drag it over to your bookmark, you have created a new bookmark that remembers that exact query that you used. You can also do the following. This isn't very easy to read, so what you could do is, while highlighting it with your cursor, click Edit Bookmark, change it to whatever you would like. I'm just going to say incident WIP acknowledged. You can also adjust the image. Say you want it to be a red star, and click update, and then click update again. And now you've changed the name of your query and changed the icon as well. If you no longer want this bookmark, all you do is come back to Edit Bookmark and click Delete, and it is gone. The home menu, there are quite a few very important features and functions that appear here. All the application settings have been bundled into the Home Gear icon, which is in the right-hand corner of the screen by the Logout button. It is where you can revisit the What's New feature, which is simply that pop-up and giving you a few hints as to what's new. the help icon, which is the blue question mark, which sends you to some information about ServiceNow, and where you access your personal home pages, either your home pages or your group's home pages, and where you set a bunch of preferences such as date, time, your split layout options, related list loading, theme, printer-friendly version, how you would print a ticket. There's quite a few options in here, and I'm going to briefly go through those. So again, if you, on the right-hand side by the logout button, you click that, that one gear icon, shows you all your settings. This is where you can see all the home pages that you have for you or your groups, and how you would access those home pages. All of your preferences are in here to wrap longer text and list columns. So basically it breaks the text into lines so that you minimize horizontal scrolling. So if you have long text, it'll kind of break it for you, and that's turned on when it's marked green. Compact view basically will push the text together as close as possible so you view more information on a smaller window. That is not turned on because it's marked as gray. You can adjust these by simply clicking on them. The final options over here are accessibility, which is actually something that we do not have turned on at this point. Compact view, we already went over. Tabbed forms. This is replaces the there used to be a button on every form where you could toggle the tabs on and off, and as you notice, most forms have tabs towards the bottom of the form or the middle of the form, and you can decide whether you want to see tabs all the time or none of the time. And if you turn it off, then you see sections where you used to see tabs. And then Alt plus click opens list links in form pane. So this is a simple trick that I'll show you in just a moment, but if you turn this on, you can use for a PC, if you click Alt and then click on a link like a ticket number, it opens up the ticket in the form pane, and you'll see what that looks like in just a moment. The other options are how you want to display the date and time. You can choose calendar or time ago. So again, if I go to my incidents, notice here that the age on this is April 2nd or April 10th. If I come over here and I choose time ago, it says 2 months ago, or about a month ago, or 14 days ago. Or if you like that feature but you still want to see the date, you could choose both, where you see the date and you also see the time ago, 2 months ago, about a month ago, 14 days ago. So that is an individual personalized option. Compact list date and time also will just basically compact the values for you. And then your split layout. By default, you can decide if you want your split layout to be vertical or horizontal. So you can play around with that setting to see if you have a large screen, you may want to do horizontal or continue with vertical. And then the last option here, or one of the last options, is related list loading. For performance purposes, I do recommend that you switch this value to be on demand. And what that does is it quickly makes the ticket load more quickly, because all the related tabs at the very bottom of the form will load later. So let me show you what that looks like. If I open up this ticket, this incident, notice how it opens very quickly because all it's doing is loading this single ticket. If I then scroll to the very bottom of the ticket, you notice I don't see any tabs at the bottom. I see this button instead that says Load Related List. Now when I click that button, it now loads the related lists. And now you'll see any related incidents, SLAs, CIs, enhancements, etc. So anything that's related to this incident would appear only when you click that button. So that is again an option you can use. I believe the default will be with the form, which will continue to load the ticket and all the related items at the same time, which would slow down performance. So if you do want a faster performance when opening tickets, switch your related list loading option to on demand. And then the last option you can play around with is theme. These are predefined colors, so if you're tired of looking at the system default of the dark blue and you decide you would like to look at a different color, all you need to do is select it from here. It will refresh the application using the new color scheme. In this case, it's kind of an orange or a tangerine color, and you have all these options are predefined. You cannot add your own colors, but you can select any of these, such as kiwi or tangerine, if you just want to look at a different color while you're using a system. If you want to go back to the system default, you can just simply either click System from the list or click the recycle symbol. And lastly, while you are looking at a specific ticket, if you wanted to print it, you would have to come back into the option for the menu and then choose the option Printer Friendly Version, which does as it has before, opens up another window and displays the ticket in printer friendly version, and click to print. Okay. The next item we have on the presentation, I believe, is simply explaining what I've pretty much described to you. So wrap longer text and list columns, compact view, accessibility, tabbed forms, Alt plus click opens link and form. I'll go over that in just a moment. Notice that on the Mac you would use the command and click. Date time and split layout. Related list loading, we recommend again on demand, and theme and printer friendly version. So I will come back quickly to show you, if you go back to your list view, this Alt plus click, if I'm clicking the Alt key on my keyboard and then I click the ticket number, notice what happens is it immediately opens that ticket into split pane layout and opens it in a tab. Your other options are, and they have always been here, if you do control click on the ticket number, it opens up the ticket in another tab on your browser. So now I'm viewing this ticket in another tab. And then lastly, shift click. If you do shift click, it simply opens the record in kind of a pop-up on top of your existing screen. So if you don't want to lose where you were and you just want to quickly look at the contents of the ticket, you could do a shift click. So again, Alt click, Control click, and Shift click are all options. Tagging documents. This is a very helpful tool to help you organize your tickets. By default, every ticket you open is marked as most recent. So if you know that an hour ago you opened and looked at a ticket, you don't have to go remember or jog your brain as to what that ticket number was, because it will automatically be tagged for you, and only you, as most recent. So I'll show you how to look at that. But what I'm going to show you first is how to create your own custom tags. So for instance, if you want to have a bucket of things that need to be followed up on tomorrow, you can create a tag called follow up and tag any kind of ticket you would like to show up in that bucket. And then you view those by clicking the tag documents on the edge or bookmark bar. So in this case, I will look at this particular ticket, and I see here next to the ticket number there is this little icon that looks like a tag with a little string. If I click that button, it says Add Tag. So I'm going to add a tag that says Needs Follow-up and hit Enter, and notice it turns into a tag. And notice it actually gives me the option to create a secondary tag for this, but for now I'm going to leave it as a single tag. And notice there's only one tag attached to this ticket. Now if I come back to my my edge bar over here on the left hand side, the third item down here is called Tagged Documents. If I click that, it displays the menu for your tagged documents. The first item you see is most recent, and there are 12 most recent. And here are the 12, and they're kind of displayed to you in card format. So it does display the most recent ticket that you've opened, and if you want to open and look at that ticket, you simply click the ticket number at the top. It will take you right to that ticket. If you decide you don't need to see this anymore, you can click the X, and it's no longer in your most recent bucket. However, the brand new one that I created called Needs Follow-Up only has one ticket. If I click that, here's the one ticket that I marked that says Needs Follow-Up. Again, if I click here, that tag goes away, and if I come back to my incidents and I reopen that 723 ticket, you'll notice that that tag is now gone. So remove the tag from the ticket. And you can use these just to basically help you organize your tickets into buckets to follow up on later. Here's just some options for showing you how the required fields and invalid valued fields look like. So fields that require a value before you can save the ticket are displayed with a bright red asterisk instead of a color bar. In the old version, there used to be a little color bar next to the field. Now it's a bright red asterisk. Required fields with an accepted value before you save, change that bright color to a light color asterisk. And required fields with an accepted value after saving still have an asterisk, but it is grayed out at that point. And if you try to type a value that's invalid into a field like at business service and you leave that field, the entire field will turn pink, which kind of gives you for high visibility for there being a problem before you save it. And lastly, read-only fields. When you hover your cursor over a read-only field, it will turn into a no entry symbol, and I'll show you what that looks like, all of those features. So in this particular ticket, you'll notice this is a saved ticket that I opened, and all these required fields have that mandatory but gray icon next to it. If I do remove a value that is required, or for instance, if I change this from add install to none, notice it turns into a bright red icon. If I change it to inquiry, notice it changes to a light red icon until I save. And then lastly, if I try to change this value to a value that does not exist in the system and I lose focus, it will change the field to pink, and to give you an idea that that is an invalid value. And then if you hover over a field that you cannot modify, like the ticket number, the cursor changes. You can still double tap on that field to highlight the value if you want to do a Control-C for a copy, if you want to copy that value, but you cannot change it. Recent selections, these fields will that you manually type in all the time. If you're typing the same value over and over again, the system will start to remember the most recent things that you have put in that field and help you out. So I'll show you what that looks like by creating a new incident. And so if all I have to do is simply put my cursor in the field, and it already shows me the two last recent values, Sean Hall, Sean Barnett, and all I have to do is click it and it fills in all the values for it for me. I didn't type a single thing. Also here again, I put my cursor in the at business service field, and again it shows me my recent selections. If you notice, if I continue to type service, it does give you other options, but the most recent selection is always at the top. And this appears on all forms all fields for all forms where you manually type a value. If it's a drop-down, you will still have to click the drop-down and select the value. For reporting, the reports module is displayed, is new looking. It does display in a list view with folder options such as My Reports, All Group Reports, Global Reports, and All. The list view also provides the option to display the table type, title, the table used, who it was created by, and when it was last modified. This is useful to help you determine more information about the report. And also, you can star or favorite those reports to recall them more quickly. So let me give you a heads up about how the reporting module has changed. So again, if you go to Reports and click View Run, you will see the new list view for reports. And if you don't have any reports saved under your name, you won't see any data under My Reports. If you go to Group, or you go to Global, or you go to All, you'll see everything. In this case, you see 4 different kinds of reports. You see an icon which explains a little bit about this. This is a pivot table. I'm hovering over this icon. It tells you this is a pie chart. This is a list view, and this is a bar chart. It also tells you where is this data coming from, which table is it coming from, and the ID of the person who created it, and when this report was last modified. One other feature that I'm about to tell you is we happen to be viewing by looking at your favorites, and you know that that this star here is blue. So if you unclick that blue star, you see all the reports that were for your group. So just remember that if you are using favorite, or if you're favoriting various reports, instead of having to search for them, or the same several reports that you run over and over again, favorite them by clicking the blue star, and then toggle your favorites by clicking the blue star here. One other feature that's nice is if you click on this report link right here, it will run the report. That said, if you instead click the pencil, you actually open this report in Edit View, and as soon as it finishes loading, you can look at the report, see what group it's coming from. You can see the filter query, and then you see at the bottom says you've chosen edit mode, make adjustments above, and then press the button titled Run. So basically it lets you view the filter for the report before you actually hit the database and pull back data, saving you some time. So again, that's just a new feature that allows you to do that. And this slide just basically explains what I just showed you, showing you that pencil and reminding you about that you need to click Run after you've just in edit mode. Those are the new features for Fuji, and we do hope you enjoy them, and thank you for your time.